Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 Bank Shot best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Saturday in college basketball. First up, we see Duke and Georgia Tech. This one's going to be 2:15 Eastern. Now, last time Georgia Tech played, we took them plus the points on the Bank Shot Breakdown as well as our Bank Shot Best Bet against Mississippi State. And Georgia Tech won outright for us as an 8-point underdog. They won 67-59. And now they host another really good team here in Duke, but I don't love their chances. I think there's a letdown spot for Georgia Tech. You know, Duke has already gotten a true road game under its belt. Its last game against Arkansas, a really tough place to play. Unlike Mississippi State, who was playing in its first true road game in that ball game. And Georgia Tech, give them credit, they played really well defensively in that game. The offense still a concern for me. There's not a great shooting team right now. They're 308 in the country in effective field goal percentage, 283rd in three-point shooting. They're getting pretty good looks, and they're taking care of the ball, good offensive rebounding team. But against a team like Duke, I do think you're going to have pretty solid shooting numbers to be able to compete for 40 minutes. And I think Duke going to be able to score a lot more than Mississippi State did in that game. We saw last year Duke played at Georgia Tech in Atlanta last season. It was a 43-point blowout win, 86-43. They doubled up Georgia Tech in the scoreboard in that one. And while it's different teams this season, I still think Duke 14th in the country in just an offensive efficiency. They take care of the ball. They're a very good shooting team, and they have a very good defense, just as good a defense as Mississippi State does, if not better, and a very good rebounding team on the defensive side. Duke should be able to win this game comfortably. I'm going to take Duke here, and we're getting a pretty good number because of that upset win for Georgia Tech last time out, and Duke's loss to Arkansas. Give me Duke for a bounce-back spot here. Next up, we see TCU and Georgetown. This was going to be 5:30 Eastern. It's going to be on Fox Sports 1. It's part of that Big East, Big 12 battle. And, in this matchup, TCU has been very impressive this season. 6-0 this year. A lot of blowout wins, 80-plus points in all those games. A couple of games where they scored triple digits, 108 and 101 in their last game. But you got to look at the strength of schedule, and you got to look at where those games were played. All 6 games were played at home for TCU, so this is their very first true road game, first game away from home in general this season for the Horned Frogs. And all 6 of those opponents, all 6 of those wins were against teams that were ranked outside the top 200 in KenPom. Southern, Omaha, UT Rio Grande Valley, Mississippi Valley State, Alcorn State, and Houston Christian, some of the weaker teams in Division I college hoops. So this is a much tougher battle here going on the road against a Big East team. I know it's not the same Georgetown team we're used to, and it's a rebuilding year for the Hoyas and Ed Cooley, but this is still the toughest game by far this year that TCU's had. And Georgetown's on a 4-game win streak. They had some struggles out of the gate. They lost to Holy Cross, they lost to Rutgers, but at least they got that game under their belt on the road. But now on a 4-game win streak, playing better defensively. Last game only giving up 67 points. And I do think that Georgetown offensively, is a decent team, pretty good shooting team, 46 in the country in three-point shooting. They defend the perimeter pretty well. The rebounding numbers, I'd like to see improve on the defensive end, but they're actually top 25 in offensive rebounding percentage. They get to the free throw line. I think TCU is overvalued and a little bit overrated because of those strong home victories against some of the weak teams. And I think because of that, we're getting some nice value with Georgetown, the home team in this one. I think TCU still wins this game, but I think Georgetown covers the number. So give me the points with the Hoyas in this one. Next up, we see Stephen F. Austin and Abilene Christian, one of my favorite games to watch each and every year in college basketball. This one, 6 p.m. Eastern, is going to be on ESPN+. These are two rivals. They've played against each other in the Southland Conference for years, and now they're doing so in the WAC Conference. This will be an official WAC game in conference play. Stephen F. Austin, 4-3 this season, lost its first game in conference play to Tarleton State by 2 points. They were a big favorite in that game. Abilene Christian also, they're 3-4 this year. They opened their season in WAC play with a loss as well. UT Arlington, that was a blowout loss, 86-71. But I think when you look at what these two teams look to do and their fundamentals this year, I think Abilene Christian has an advantage in this game. They do a better job at taking care of the basketball for starters. Both of these defenses are pretty aggressive. They're going to be able to force a lot of turnovers, but Abilene Christian only turning the ball over right around 17% of the time offensively. Stephen F. Austin over 24.5% of the time they lose the ball. That's 358th in the country, so bottom 10 in college basketball in turnover percentage offensively. On the other side, when you look at the defensive rebounding numbers, ACU a little bit better there. ACU does a better job at getting to the free throw line, which is important because both of these teams, like I said, aggressive defenses. They're going to force a lot of turnovers. They're also going to take quite a few fouls, and if ACU is getting to the free throw line more, I give them a big advantage in a game like this, especially as the home team. Both of these teams pretty good shooting teams at times. ACU is right around top 100 in three-point shooting. Stephen F. Austin top 25 in three-point shooting. But like I said, the fundamentals, I think ACU has the advantage, at least right now. They're also playing with revenge after losing to Stephen F. Austin last year. So give me Abilene Christian in this one on the money line at home. Next up, we see Colorado State and Washington in the Las Vegas Invitational. This one's 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network. Now, as impressive as Colorado State has been this season with that perfect record at 7-0, ranked inside the AP polls, and 3 really strong wins last time, and in the last 3 games, Boston College, Creighton, and their rivals in Colorado, I do think the Rams could be a bit overvalued in a spot like this. Also could be considered a letdown spot or a double letdown spot after 2 emotional wins over 2 really strong programs. One of them your rivals in Colorado, and the other one against a top team in Creighton. Washington's proved it can play well in neutral site games. It's done so this season as it competed against San Diego State, the team that made it to the national championship last year, and it beat Xavier outright as an underdog 74-71. And then last season against Fresno State, an outright win. St. Mary's, they beat them outright 68-64 in overtime. That was a team that was ranked 13th in KenPom at the time. So Washington and Mike Hopkins' teams play well in tournament-style, neutral site games, and I think they're going to be able to compete in this game. I think Washington's offense is really improved this season, and the defense is as strong as ever. This is a team and program that's usually pretty strong defensively. They're 57th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. Really good perimeter defense, but also top 35 in two-point defense this year. So, while the big issue that I've seen with Washington is their defensive rebounding, we see that with, the Jim Boeheim, Mike Hopkins kind of style of defense. Sometimes the defensive rebounding numbers aren't the best. But Colorado State's one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the country. They're 359th in offensive rebounding percentage. So the one disadvantage that Washington usually has against the teams, I don't think it's going to be exploited by the Rams in this ball game. I do think the Rams, come down to earth a little bit when it comes to their shooting numbers, as right now they're second in the country in effective field goal percentage, which is great. But I don't think it's sustainable for where this team is getting its shots. The shot quality is pretty good, but it's nowhere near second in the country in effective field goal. So I do think the Colorado State Rams are a bit overvalued here, and what should be a close game, I'm going to take those points with the Washington Huskies. Next up, we see New Mexico State and New Mexico, the final game we're to talk about for Saturday's card in college basketball. This one's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern in the Pit. We know the Lobos have a big-time home court advantage every home game, but especially against a rival like New Mexico State. The first time that Richard Pitino, when he joined New Mexico, the first time he coached against the New Mexico State Aggies at home, it was an outright loss for the Lobos. They split the season series that year and lost the home game. So I expect, I don't know if it's a revenge spot, but I do expect Pitino to look to put on a show here against the rivals at home in the Pit. And it's a huge home court advantage like we talk about. We took them and laid the points against Louisiana Tech in their last game for New Mexico. They won that game and covered the number for us, winning by 9 points. And I expect a big blowout win in this game. I just think it's a nightmare spot for New Mexico State, a team that we've been fading from the beginning of the season. It's just not the same program, not the same team that we're used to in the last couple of seasons. I mean, a couple of years ago, New Mexico State made the NCAA tournament and won a game in the first round as a 12 seed, beating UConn, who the next year won the national championship. They beat them outright in the first round, and this program's just a lot different right now. Jason Newton, the new coach, I really like him. I think it was a good hire, and I think going forward, he's the guy to rebuild this program. But the team right now on paper, just not where it needs to be. We've seen them get blown out to Kentucky, UC Irvine. They lost to Southern Illinois, 81-54. They've been competitive in other spots. They lost in overtime to Louisville, lost in overtime to Fresno State, but they blew a big lead against Louisville, and that's not a very good Louisville team. New Mexico, I think, will be able to keep its foot on the pedal for 40 minutes in this ballgame against a rival especially, and I just think New Mexico much better on both ends of the court, much better fundamentally as well. I think it's going to be a blowout win for the Lobos, so give me New Mexico. I'll lay the big number. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.